Okay, sometimes we're given equations and we don't know how to solve them. This is a cubic because we can see it's the power of 3. We know how to solve a quadratic, but at GCSE we're not shown how to or expected to solve a cubic. So what we need to do is find another way to find an estimate for the roots, where x equals something and y equals 0. Okay, so what we do is we rearrange this equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 1. So now I've got x cubed minus 4x is equal to minus 1. I'm going to add 4x. So now x cubed is equal to 4x minus 1. And to find that root, I need x to be the subject. So now I'm going to take the cube root. So the cube root of x cubed is x. And on the other side, I have the cube root of 4x minus 1. So now, this will help me find an estimate for those solutions, but I need a starting point. So if I pick the starting point as the first value being minus 2, okay, this is now what we call a recursive sequence. So what we do is we say that the next term, which is xn plus 1, n being the term in the sequence, is equal to the cube root of 4 times xn, which was the current or the last term in the sequence, minus 1. So we've said that x1 is minus 2. So that means that x2, the next term in the sequence, will be the cube root of 4 times x1 minus 1. Okay, so that's the cube root of 4 times minus 2 minus 1, which is the cube root of 4 times minus 2 minus 1. So that's going to be minus 9. Now remember, you can't take a square root of a negative number because square numbers are always positive. Cube numbers can be negative. So cube root of negative 9 gives us minus 2.08008, and then some more digits. Okay, now if we want x3, that's going to be the cube root of 4 times x2 minus 1, which is the cube root of 4 times our negative 2.08008 minus 1. Okay, and this is where we can start to use our calculator. Okay, and the answer button is the key thing here. So what we need to do is we put minus 2 in and then press the equals button on our calculator. By doing that, it stores it as the answer. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this recursive sequence into the calculator, and we're going to put it in this way. So we're going to say that the cube root of 4 times the answer minus 1. And then we're going to hit equals. So we have cube root 4 times answer minus 1. And when we do that, we get our minus 2.08008. Okay, now if we hit equals again, we'll get minus 2.104475. And then if we want the next term, which is x4, we hit equals again, and it gives us minus 2.1117. If we want x5, that's minus 2.1139, and so on and so on and so on. And what we want to do is find out basically maybe 3 decimal places what that answer is. So if we keep going, just keep pressing the equals button, we end up with minus 2.114, and that stops changing. Now that is our estimate for the root. Okay, and that's how we estimate the solution to an equation that we can't necessarily solve. Right, now what do exam questions look like? Here's an exam question. It says we have the iteration formula, which tells us that this is an iteration question. So xn plus 1 is the cube root of 10 minus 2xn. Find the values of x1, x2, x3, starting with x0 equal to 2. So we want x1, we want x2, we want x3. Okay, so we do the same thing with the calculator. We put 2, press the equals button, and then we do the cube root of 10 minus 2 times answer. So replacing xn with answer. And when we do that, we get x1 is equal to 1.81712. We hit the equals button again. That's going to be x2. That's 1.8533. 18. Okay, keep going with decimals. Okay, hit it again. I get 1.846265. So now I've got all 3 of those. x1, x2, x3. And it's all by using the calculator and swapping xn for answer. Okay, now the second part of the question, it says the values of x1, x2, x3 are estimates of the solution of an equation in this form. And we've got to find out what a and b are. Well, this is just the inverse of what we did before. So our recursive formula is xn plus 1 is the cube root of 10 minus 2 times xn. Okay, so now we want to get back to that cubic. Well, as it's got a cube root, we know that if we cube it, we can end up with something. So let's just write this as, forget the n and n plus 1. This is just x is equal to the cube root of 10 minus 2x. And I'm going to cube it. So I get x cubed is equal to 10 minus 2x. And I'm going to bring both the other terms to the other side. So I get x cubed plus 2x minus 10 equals 0. Okay, so it's just the inverse of what? The inverse of what we did before. So now, x cubed plus a, which multiplies x, means that a is 2, and b is the thing we're adding at the end, so that is minus 10. And we've answered our exam question.